When they talk about themselves, nobody listens. You're never actually walking in a plan. And don't click off, because I was with you debating whether or not I want to put it in here. In a village, you have to be willing to be a villager. You're supposed to act like they won't do it again. We could just go all into that, but we're not going to today. Again, selfishly, don't think like you're gonna really stop anything. Who said that?
Ain't it fun?
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Haley if you're new here. This is probably a really great video actually for you to click on as one of your very first videos of mine. But if you are not new here, you probably already know that I'd like to do X amount of things that I've learned by X series over on my channel to celebrate my birthday, usually around whenever my birthday is. And as you read by the title, I am turning 24, so that's why I'm doing 24 things I learned by 24. So if you haven't seen all of the past year's nuggets of wisdom, you definitely want to check out the playlist down below. 2 years worth of wonderful nuggets of wisdom. Some years I do kind of overlap similar things I've learned or really focused on in that year, so you might see some repetition throughout the years. But that's good. That means there's things that we might forget and then we have to be reminded about throughout the year. But with all that being said, I'm going to stop yapping and go ahead and get right into the 24 things I've learned by 24. Starting with, if it's your calling, it's going to keep calling. If it's something that you're passionate about, don't feel like you have to somehow orchestrate how it's supposed to look, how it's supposed to be carried out, finding the opportunity for you to be able to pursue it. That is something that I have to keep on being reminded. Sometimes the situations that you're creating in your head are not the truth or the reality of the situation. While they could be a practical outcome, sometimes they're just purely overthinking. And I'm somebody who does this pretty frequently, overthinks about things or thinks about every possible situation or outcome. While all those outcomes are, yes, maybe feasible or practical to happen, not all of them are likely to happen. Almost like a probability. Like while there is 100 different scenarios this situation could turn out, only one is likely to be the one that actually happens. So why am I thinking about the other 99? Your mind is so important. It impacts so many aspects of your life and just your thoughts, like how much it impacts your decisions, the way you perceive, the way you perceive others. Like we could just go all into that, but we're not going to today. All starts in there. Remember that forgiving is not forgetting. It's just remembering without the maybe anger or the frustration or like some of those negative charged feelings and emotions behind it. Almost have this like oblivious mindset about the situation or about the person or what they did. I'm supposed to act like they won't do it again. But now, you know, being a little bit more spiritually mature and maturing in life in general, learning that yes, I'm still charged with forgiving them, but I'm not supposed to just make myself be without wisdom and discernment, knowing that they could likely fall in those patterns again. Remember that serving others is rarely convenient. Not in like a very like negative inconvenience me way, but usually it's in a situation where maybe you yourself are going through a storm or a situation in your own life and you're like, oh, yes, I want to help you, but this is just not the opportune time for me to be trying to assist you because I'm going through my own stuff, or hey, I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z. But just know that oftentimes that is the situation. It's rarely like it just lines up perfectly. It does help you. Serving others, focusing on them and how you can help them, helps you, one, not focus on maybe some of the things you negatively were focusing on in your situation, and maybe it's an opportunity for you, because you're not focusing so heavily on that situation, for you to come up with a better solution or an outcome or a way to better navigate the situation. So when you're focusing on somebody else instead of focusing just on you very narcissistically, even if you don't think about it that way, it benefits you as well in the end. And with that, because it's really convenient, remember that if you want a village, you have to be willing to be a villager within somebody else's village. That's a quote that I saw in a TikTok video a few months ago, and it's really stuck with me. So it's definitely a quote I'm going to be kind of carrying into the year of 24. If God's pleased, it doesn't matter who isn't. And this is something that I think I've known, being like, hey, if they're not happy with it, oh well. And more of, it doesn't matter really if I cared or didn't care. What my thoughts, focusing on me, again, part out of it, and just focusing on it pleases him, period. Realizing that even when I previously thought, because it didn't bother me or I didn't really care about the opinion or the outlook of others in the action or what I was doing, realizing that that's still centered on me. This next one is something I almost, if not every day, every other day, have to remind myself, is that you should be thankful for what you have today, because what you're living today is someone else's dreams. Having gratitude, being thankful, even if you feel like your situation could be better. Think about the fact of where you are right now is still somebody else's dream. Like they still wish they were having the situation you're having right now, even though you're wishing you had a better, more favorable situation. Just be grateful for where you are. And when you focus on that, you would be surprised how like all those other things kind of like fade. Doing your best looks different every day. Your best one day can look different than the next day. It doesn't mean that you didn't give your all. It fluctuates because of your energy level, because of maybe circumstance in your life, like emotionally, maybe mentally, like the load or whatever you're carrying, like all that impacts it day by day, hour by hour, like all that impacts what your best looks like, however you're pursuing whatever you're pursuing. And that's okay. Your best could fluctuate day by day, maybe even from the morning to the evening. There's really no difficult situation, and don't click off because I was with you. I was like, really, there's no difficult situation, but it really is your mindset. It's no longer a difficult situation. It's a situation from which you can learn from, grow from, maybe trust in God better. And again, I'm gonna have to watch this video when I go through another difficult situation and remind myself of this as well. So it just really depends on where your like focus is. Is it on the rockiness of the storm? Is it focused on the boat? Where is your focus? If your focus is on something more positive, then yes, the situation is the same, but the way that you navigate it's going to be completely different. You're figuring out something new versus it being a difficult situation. Your progress still counts, even if it's only visible to you. Take that in whatever facet or whatever way and meaning and perspective that you want to put it within your life. And kind of going back to one that I mentioned a few seconds ago, off days are needed and they're very useful. Like this whole mentality of like, you always have to be productive, you always have to be on, you always have to be doing something. Not realistic. We have to rest, we have to recharge, we have to regroup, and it's okay. And I'm saying this again, somebody who consciously knows it but needs to do better at putting it into practice and being okay and not having some level of guilt of like, oh, I could have been doing this, or oh, I could have been. No, you could have been resting, and that's what you're doing now. Forget the mistake, but remember the lesson. This one I was debating whether or not to put it in here, but it's true and it's worked for me, that if somebody is annoying you or is just being very negative in your life or just honestly nagging because they want attention, the best clapback is silence, because nobody wants to be irrelevant. People gossip about you to others because when they talk about themselves, nobody listens. So when I heard that, I was like, who said that? It's true. People will try to talk about themselves and the room will be quiet, nobody will acknowledge it, and nobody likes to be relevant, so that's why they start talking about you, because then that's when people engage and they start listening, and then that's when they're someone relevant. So the same is true. If you don't give them any relevancy by being silent and ignoring them and not acknowledging what they're doing, they're not going to like that because they're being irrelevant. Nobody is acknowledging their presence. Just a little pro tip, it does work. A year is shorter than you think. You are somebody who's like, I won't have that opportunity for 2 years, or it'll take me 2 years to complete that, or it'll take me X amount of time. Just start now, because you'll be surprised how quickly a year, months, days, how quickly all that time just flies by. And you're gonna wish, when I was thinking about doing it then, but I didn't want to because I knew it was gonna take this long. Now the time's come and I could have been done, or I could have had this much progress. Time really does kind of fly by. And this kind of goes back to that. It's okay to take rest, to take off days. Is whatever you get done in a day is enough. Whatever you got done, it's already been done now. We can't go back. It's history now. Leave that there. Adjust as needed. Move forward. If you're trying something new, if you want to make an adjustment or an improvement somewhere in your life, just focus on making a 1% improvement in whatever it is. One, it's going to be way more practical and sustainable for you to be consistent at it because it's only 1% improvement each time. And two, because you're getting that like win, because you're actually being consistent and it's sustainable and you're actually keeping at it, you're going to feel this sense of like endorphins and like positivity, like, oh, I can do this. It's manageable. It's so easy. It's so doable. Yeah, I can do that. You can either evolve in the situation or you can just repeat what you've been doing previously in the situation. I'm just gonna leave that right there for you to take and interpret as you will. So kind of circling back to, I think it was one of the first ones that I mentioned, your thoughts are real, but they're not always true. While they are real, they're still your thoughts. Doesn't mean that they're true. Sometimes they're lies that the enemy puts in your head. Doesn't make them not real, just makes them not true. And you'd be surprised how much what you're consuming impacts what those untrue things that you're thinking about in your head, how much that actually impacts that overall. Think about what shows you're watching, music, what things you're seeing, who you're around, all that impacts what we're thinking, and then therefore impacts our thoughts or our perspectives or our perceptions about things. Enjoy being the amateur, the rookie, the beginner phase at whatever you're doing, because it won't last long. And the part that I love about that is a lot of times it comes with the opportunity that we personally, because we can be our own harshest critic, is that we personally aren't holding ourselves up to this stellar standard because we're like, oh, we're a beginner, so like, oh, we messed up, oh well, I'm still learning, or oh, I'm still in training. We might think of more out of the box ways to do things and be a little bit more creative about it. Enjoy that little beginner phase. Again, apply this wherever you see fit. I just love that phase because we give ourselves way more like freedom in what we can do. Sorry about that, guys. Had to handle some technical issues there. Kind of resuming and wrapping up that last one. When we are in that beginner phase, we just allow ourselves to be a little bit more unconventional, and sometimes it's really great because that's where innovation and new ideas and discoveries all happen. We're a beginner and oops, we did it wrong. No, we were just trying to figure it out and maybe we discovered something new. Your path might look different and that's a-okay. This could be for your career, this could be for what you pursue for like maybe college or like education, this could be for where you end up living, this could be maybe the milestones in your life. All of our lives are different and it's all different based on our own personalized past experiences, our own personalized passions, interests, the list goes on. Why should we expect that all of our lives would look exactly the same? When the equation, if you're thinking about it, adding up the equation, we all had different variables to begin with, so why would we think the answer would be the same? Pay attention to the activities in your life that are energy givers versus energy takers. You don't want to be constantly putting yourself in situations where you're dealing with energy takers. And I understand there's some circumstances in life, maybe for certain periods or whatever the reason is, that you might have to be in situations for prolonged times where you're dealing with energy taker activities. Be aware of like what's truly tugging on and either adding or taking away from your energy. Remember to be obedient because God might be using you to help someone else. So where you're over here thinking, again, going back to the whole serving others is really convenient, where you might be thinking, hey, I'm not getting anything, again selfishly, I'm not getting anything out of this, or hey, this is really not what I really want to be doing, or no, I really don't want to do that. You might be the piece, and don't think like you're gonna really stop anything. You might be the piece that he's using to help somebody else in their situation, or to help somebody else in being like the blessing that they've been asking for. It's okay if you have to adjust the plan. I know as somebody who likes to have a plan and kind of know where I'm trying to go and my vision and the direction and all that stuff, it's okay to have a plan and for it to adjust. You'd have to pivot, for you have to make changes. Like nobody said you had to stay set in stone. We evolve, we gain new knowledge, we gain new perspectives, new opportunities, new outcomes are presented to us, so we make new decisions, and so therefore it changes where we're going. That's okay. Nobody's like trying to lock you in for the most part. I don't know your situation. Sticking to the thing that you said. Now there are some people who are a little fickle. Maybe people are trying to hold you because you're never actually walking in a plan. You want to change, that's okay. If you need to adjust the plan, that's all right. You'd be surprised how many times delayed gratification actually will help you with your impulse spending. I like to do this all the time when I'm maybe hungry or I see something and it's like, oh, I'd really want that. I didn't plan to get that, or I know I probably shouldn't get that. I'll just kind of like tell myself either, well, I need to do this in order to get that and that be my reward. Or maybe I'll have to wait X amount of days. Or maybe the next time I come in the store, I've told y'all about this delayed gratification technique before. Doing that, most times I'll end up never going back, or I'll never end up getting the item. And the few times I have gotten the item, because I took that time to actually think about it, and no longer is now impulsive. Now I'm like, I have enough time and space to think, do I really want that? Would I actually really use it? Why do I want it? Like, while delayed gratification is not always the most satisfying thing, it can actually help, especially when it comes to spending. Final piece of advice for my 24 things I've learned by 24 is to treat each day separately. Don't try to bring in baggage, the negativity, the expectations that you had for yesterday into today. Like, don't try to like hold it basically accountable for your yesterday. All that being said, those were my 24 things I learned by 24. If you did enjoy this video and you've stuck around this long through the technical issues and all, definitely give me a big thumbs up and comment down below. Let's do, which emoji? Let's do the party emoji. And until next time, I will catch you guys on the flip side. Bye guys.